Alright guys, we are back with another video. So today Vashi Kaplos had our favorite, Chrystia Freeland, on her Power Play show. She was kind of talking about, the trade barriers and the tariffs and whatnot. But I do have a clip here where Chrystia Freeland is just absolutely spitting word salad, saying the same crap that we've heard for the longest time. And again, I know her voice is just, you just, it's like nails running down a chalkboard. I know it sucks, but it's not that long of a clip. I'm not going to play the whole thing. Let's have a look and then we'll talk about it. But before we do, please don't forget to like and subscribe, because it really helps grow the channel. Let's have a look and then we'll talk about it.
I think we recognize that a nurse who works in Saskatchewan and is qualified there should be able to work on PEI. It's just,
but it's okay for Quebec to keep protecting supply management?
Well, actually, Vashi, as you know, supply management is a national program. It's not a provincial program. So this
concentrated
is something
in Ontario and Quebec, though. And Quebec is the one who said we're not going here.
There's actually, there are dairy farms across the country, and they all benefit from supply management. That's not a provincial program. It's a national program. Free trade in Canada is something that will make us all richer. It won't cost us any money. It's about Canadians trusting each other, and we have a real-life example.
That is so... Canadians trusting each other? 10 years of false claims and fake promises, broken promises, and now we're supposed to trust them. Listen, I'm not going to speak for the fools who voted for her, but most Canadians don't trust them. And now they expect us to start. It's wild.
Australia did this about 30 years ago, and they did it using the mutual recognition approach that Canadians are using right now. And it's worked. It made the Australian economy stronger, and it knitted Australia more closely together as a country. And I'm just really excited because this is the kind of policy, it reminds me of early learning and childcare. It's the kind of policy that policy experts have thought for a long time was the right thing to do. But it is tricky. There are tons and tons of specific lobbies opposed to it. And what is very exciting to me is that right now Canadians recognize this is a critical moment for Canada. This is something that makes sense, that we can do for each other, that doesn't cost us anything, will make us all richer. And I was very inspired by the conversation around the table where First Ministers unanimously said, I want to do this. The people in my province believe in it. Let's get it done. I really think that this is a breakthrough moment for Canada.
Will the federal portion of it, will that legislation be introduced in this sitting?
It will be introduced very, very soon.
But does that mean...
Supposed to be done by July 1st. That was the promise that Carney delivered. Are they lying again? Because now they're saying, it's going to be tabled by July 1st. It was supposed to be enacted by July 1st. They made promises they knew they couldn't keep, and the stupid Canadians who voted for them fell for it. Now they're in power. They're going to be proven to be liars again. And those Liberal voters will still find an excuse to vote for them.
In this sitting, because the Prime Minister has explicitly said, actually, in the election, he said it'd all be done by July 1st. Now, and at the platform, and now he's saying it'll be introduced, the legislation, by July 1st. Will it be?
I'm not going to get ahead of the press conference, but let me just say we're going to introduce it really fast. And let me also say, I would like to pass this legislation really, really quickly. Now is a critical moment. Now is not a time when Canada can afford to dither. We all recognize the challenge that the U.S. tariffs pose to the Canadian economy. And from my perspective, that means there is no excuse for delaying doing things that will make us richer right now that don't cost any money. So I want to take this opportunity to say to all the other members of the House of Commons, I would love this legislation to pass through unanimous consent. This is something that we can all get behind. It should not be controversial. It should be a moment when we shake hands and say, Canadians, let's trust each other. Let's build one economy, not 13. Truly.
Even Vashi can't keep a straight face when she says, let's trust each other. Not to mention, they're going to write up some crazy legislation that has a bunch of other crap in it. That's what the Liberals always do. It's the Canadian Free Trade Agreement, and then in the first part, it's going to talk about how you can trade freely with other provinces. And then it's going to be like, they're going to have some other liberal crap they always try to sneak in with these bills. The conservatives will then probably vote it down. And then the liberals will cry, oh, that's the conservatives who are stopping us. Now, that being said, they only need 3 votes from either the NDP or the Bloc, so it still could pass. But again, this is like what the liberals do. They make a bill or a piece of legislation. They title it with a nice positive title. The first paragraph's good. And then it's a bunch of other crap that's got nothing to do with the bill. And then they wonder why it gets voted down, but most Canadians don't pay attention to that. That's why some people are in favor of Bill C-63. Protect kids from online bullying. And then you keep reading into it, and what does it say? Hey, anything that you say that could be considered hate speech will get you banned and potentially arrested. They take things way too far.
It's as simple as that.
On that point, I do want to ask you about something else that I know that premiers talked about going into that meeting, and you were there in the meeting all day, and that is what they would term barriers to exactly what you just laid out. Basically, improving the economy, doing things that don't cost a lot in order to improve the economy. And in particular, the premiers of Alberta, Saskatchewan, and Ontario say, get rid of C-69 and get rid of the emissions cap. Both of those things the Prime Minister stood by during the campaign. And then after the campaign, I did an interview with him. He opened the door to getting rid of them. What is the position of your government? Are you going to get rid of C-69 and the emissions cap on the oil patch?
And again, I'm not going to get ahead of the Prime Minister and the premiers at their press conference. But what I will say is another very important, very substantive part of the discussion we had with First Ministers today was now is the time to build Canada. Someone said, build, baby, build. And,
it was the Prime Minister on election night.
Yeah. And he said it again today.
But what does that mean? Like, I asked in all seriousness.
Because actually, Vashi,
he's not being explicit.
Very
it's national projects, but how do we do that when we haven't been able to the whole 10 years you were in government?
There you go.
With our One Canada legislation. This is going to be transformative legislation that allows us to get major projects in Canada built at the speed that we need to get them built.
She's not even really saying anything. Like, Vashi's already said, hey, can you address like the speed in which you guys are talking about? They just keep saying very soon, very fast, very shortly. We're going to get it done with speed. They don't do anything with speed. Trust us. You've done nothing to make us trust you. Like, it's so ridiculous. And again, Canadians fell for it. I don't think that's going to happen again because, like I said in many other videos, that the Liberals shot their Hail Mary with Mark Carney. They got people to believe him. They're going to find out very shortly nothing's going to get done. Things are going to get worse. And they'll turn on them. And there's no one else they have to throw in as a Hail Mary. Nobody. They just played their last card. It worked, but only temporarily. Because I think we're going to be headed back to the polls much sooner than a lot of people think. Let me know what you think in the comments section. What do you think about Chrystia Freeland's apparent message where she just talked a bunch of word salad? Please don't be shy. Please don't forget to like and subscribe. It really helps grow the channel. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll be back shortly with a new video.